Good evening and welcome to Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice.
And I am Alfred Ocansey.
The news is also live on Ocansey 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. On Facebook, we're streaming live on 3FM 927. Coming up in the next 1.5 hours, government hopeful of a favorable response from organized labor after President Akufo-Addo's appeal for more time to deal with concerns of illegal mining.
Also this evening, day 2 of Stop Galamsey Now and Free the Protesters demonstration sees hundreds of Ghanaians taking part, calling for urgent government action on this issue of illegal mining. We have updates of what happened earlier today here on Hot Edition.
We also take you to Tamale, where 4 hours of a downpour has led to flooding in most parts of Greater Tamale and Saneligu municipality.
We have details of that and more here on your election command center, as the NPP has ordered parliamentary candidates to spend a minimum of 4 days per week in their constituencies. That's a directive from the NPP. Spend a minimum of 4 days per week ahead of the elections. That's the NPP ordering the parliamentary candidates. Now, bear in mind, Parliament resumes its last sitting of this 8th Parliament shortly. How will this directive impact on the members of Parliament? It's a conversation we're having this evening here on Hot Edition. We're live as well on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and also on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. We're streaming live on Facebook at 3FM 927. Grace Hammoah is here with a summary of the news.
Yes, Alfred, let's begin from that NPP note, because leadership of the governing New Patriotic Party has issued a directive mandating all of its parliamentary candidates to spend a minimum of 4 days per week in their respective constituencies to strengthen their campaign efforts ahead of the December polls. According to a press statement issued by the General Secretary Justin Kodia Frimpong on Friday, October 4, the party has observed that some parliamentary candidates are not consistently present in their constituencies. It said that the lack of engagement raises concerns about the potential impact on the party's performance in both presidential and parliamentary elections. In light of this, the party has taken the matter seriously and expects all parliamentary candidates to dedicate sufficient time to engage with constituents. Away from that, to mark this year's World Teachers' Day, NAT has criticized government for showing marks of bad faith in not paying the 20% deprived area allowance for teachers since 2009. According to the union, government must intervene to address the concerns of teachers on promotions and upgrade or risk more agitations in the coming days. October 5 every year has been set aside globally to recognize the role of teachers. For the theme for this year's World Teachers' Day was Valuing Teachers, Voices Towards a New Social Contract for Education. And the Information Ministry has reiterated the government's commitment to addressing the pressing issue of illegal mining, commonly referred to as Galamsey. In a recent statement, the ministry emphasized that the government is determined to work closely with all relevant stakeholders to find sustainable solutions to the environmental and socio-economic challenges posed by Galamsey activities. This follows President Akufo-Addo's meeting with organized labor on Thursday, October 3, following the threats by worker unions to embark on a strike on October 10 if action is not taken to stop illegal mining. Finally, private legal practitioner Martin Pebu has called for the repeal of Section 1 of Article 78 of the 1992 Constitution. According to him, members of parliament who double as ministers of state use their positions to acquire funds from private institutions that they award contracts to. He alleged that ministers receive 10% or more shares of the money paid to contractors by the state when they so arrange such contracts. That's it for the news summaries.
Thank you very much, Grace Hammoah. Let's begin with our stories for you tonight. And tonight, the government is hopeful of a favorable response from organized labor to President Akufo-Addo's request for more time to fix the illegal mining menace. Labor has come under intense pressure to reject pleas from the president to suspend their planned nationwide strike, which is set to commence on October 10. This, according to the president, is to allow the government ample time to fight galamsey. The intended strike followed the government's failure to declare a state of emergency, as well as halt all forms of small-scale mining, which has led to the destruction of water bodies and forest reserves. A scheduled meeting today among leadership of organized labor to deliberate on the request has been postponed to next week. Former director of the Ghana School of Law, Ocansey, has urged organized labor to proceed with the strike.
Labor should not heed the president's advice for the simple reason that the president has not lived up to expectations as regards the promises that he has made the nation. He, on assumption of office, put his presidency on the line and said, should he fail the galamsey fight, he'll pay for it. We have asked him to apologize. He hasn't apologized. He has only 3 months, 8 weeks. And by now, he should have allowed his vice, Dr. Bawumia, to assume the reins of government. 6 months into his estate, he shouldn't be asking organized labor to do anything. He has not been sincere. He will not be sincere. He will not keep any promise that he will give within the next 8 weeks. So as far as I'm concerned, organized labor should proceed with their timetable. And I would advise organized labor to do the following. 1, ask the president to step aside and hand over to his vice immediately. They should give the president up to Tuesday to hand over to his vice. There's no useful addition or useful transformation agenda that the president has, for us during the forthcoming 8 weeks or so. 2, the president must ensure that a caretaker government is established. By now, he and his ministers should have prepared their handing over notes. So let him resign and block with his cabinet and allow the vice president to appoint interim ministers to steer the affairs of state up to election day. As far as the galamsey is concerned, my take might be in this, that all the political parties should realize that the fight against galamsey is a shared responsibility.
And you heard the former former director of the Ghana School of Law, Ocansey. Well, President of Imani Africa, Franklin Kujo, also wants Labour to reject the president's request since he has not shown any commitment to the galamsey fight. We'll hear from him shortly. But first, let's speak to Dr. Palgrave Bachidankwa. He is the government spokesperson on governance and security. Good evening to you, Doc. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening to you, Beatrice, and thank you for the opportunity, and a very good evening to your viewers.
Why should Labour listen to the president's appeal?
Why not? I'm surprised that the former director of the Ghana Law School is making these proposals, that the president should do what? Resign? Hand over to who? The vice president? Set up an interim ministerial team? I'm wondering, what's going on upstairs? Really, seriously. To be honest, we live in a very serious country. I didn't expect that the former director of the Ghana Law School would make these
Dr. Palgrave Bachidankwa, that's quite serious for you to ask what's going on upstairs. Wouldn't you want to retract that?
Absolutely. No, I won't retract it. There is nothing that he has said that is constitutionally binding. As I listened to the interview, I was like, is this really a proposal that he's making? Has he thought through very well? Seriously, that's the truth. That is an honest truth.
But that is his opinion, and having gone through the system as a former director.
That's my opinion. That's my opinion on his opinion, basically. Because you see, we live in a country with rule of laws. We live in a country where institutions work. If organized labor has called for an imminent strike in the next few days on the 10th of October, the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has met with organized labor as of yesterday, telling you the urgency of the president's concern about what is happening. The president already proud to have set up 5-member interministerial committee led by the Sector Minister, Honorable Samuel A. Jinapor. The Honorable Samuel A. Jinapor met with organized labor, briefed cabinet yesterday. The president has asked organized labor to be able to give him some bit of time so that we can be able to come forward as a government to be able to see how we can resolve this issue. I'm excited that this morning the Ghana Water Company Limited has begun to state that in Fetre Himan in the central region, the turbidity level of the water is beginning to change.
But you know that has been criticized. People think that the Ghana Water Company...
1.9 million gallons to now 2.7 million gallons per day.
People think it's just too early, and Ghana Water Company Limited is just being sycophant, trying to please the government.
How can you say that? How can you say that they are being sycophant? So we can never be able to state that there's progress being made. Is that the position of everybody?
But Mr. Bajin,
there's no progress being made.
Doc,
there's progress being made. If progress is being made, as it relates to the fight against illegal mining, we must be able to state that.
But Doc, let's talk about the substance of the issue. You're questioning why people are suggesting that Labour should not listen to the president. The president and this government has had almost 8 years to deal with this illegal mining issue. Is it 3 months to the elections? When people want to lay down their tools that you're asking for more time, how much can you do to reverse the harm caused?
You know, the real truth really is that Labour, as we know the act that mandated Labour to form the union, they are supposed to be thinking about welfare of workers. But very clearly, we know that this is a national issue. And so we are not even going to go through the conversations around the fact that Labour has the mandate to be able to call for what they are calling for. We don't want to do that. But if we really want to do that, then we would ask Labour, do they have the mandate to call for what they are calling for?
You're saying Labour doesn't have it?
It's a national crisis that we have, which is why the president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, had seen to it. You cannot say that in 8 years the president has not done anything, or the government or president Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has not done anything in resolving illegal mining. From 2017, 4 months into President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo's governance, immediately set up an interministerial committee at a time when John Jere Hammoah was the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. We saw results and fruits thereof. We have also brought in alternative livelihood programs. We've sought to set in 20 community mining schemes that are ongoing as I speak to you. There were lands that were not reclaimed, that were left devastated. Our government has sought to reclaim those lands. So when we're talking about mining, we need to look at a broader scheme of mining. Mining, absolutely.
Yes, but the argument is that these efforts you talk about, what have been the impact of these efforts? Our waters are more polluted, and even under this government, you have through Parliament passed an LI that allows mining in forest reserves. And those who have done work into this area say that we even see more mining and destruction of our forest reserves and our cover than we have seen prior to this LI coming in. So is that not a counterproductive thing you're talking about here?
Well, can I tell you the real truth? The real truth is that our government has sought to regularize mining, because definitely people will do mining. But what would you do? Your goal is to ensure that people that are doing mining responsibly and not doing mining illegally. Like I speak to you, we have faced people you can clearly identify who own small-scale mining sites that have been legalized. In the many years ago, there were many of them who were doing illegal mining, ripping off the economy and taking away revenue that's supposed to be belonging to government. Our government had come in, sought to ensure that we regularize that, because definitely people will do mining. But you want people to do mining in a responsible way, in an illegal format. You don't want people to do mining in an irresponsible way, and you don't want people to do mining in an illegal format. So really, for me, I would propose, and I've said that it would be good for organized labor to pay heed to the president's request. I'm aware that sometime next week, the president is going to meet organized labor again. I'm also aware that there are various meetings that are ongoing as I speak to you. And so, if well-meaning citizens want to call on organized labor not to heed to the president, I really don't know what we are doing here.
Did I hear you indirectly say that you do not even think that as it stands now, organized labor has that authority to call what it's calling for?
I had earlier on stated that there's a mandate for which reason organized labor was set up. The act that brought organized labor into being is for welfare workers. But clearly, I can understand that this is a national issue. And so because it's a national issue, it's not a problem, which is why the president heeded to meeting with organized labor.
So you think the president is being magnanimous?
Begun.
You think the president is being magnanimous by meeting organized labor?
The president is a constitutional lawyer. I mean, definitely these are issues that have come up by unions, and the president is open to meet with the union. And I think that it's important that we commend the actions and the efforts that President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo is putting in.
What would you say, and that's my last question to you, to those who argue that now you're asking for time, but you've had several opportunities to address this very issue. You didn't address them. Now, organized labor says you want to lay down our tools and you want to meet.
I think it would be unfair for anyone to say that we had many opportunities and we didn't address these
Even the recent GJ Awards ceremony?
The opportunities, you know, let's put this in proper perspective, to be honest. Okay, if during the award ceremony the GJA raised their issues, the president had his speech and delivered his speech. If you have other issues, the GJA president always has access to the president. The president is aware of issues that are ongoing, which is why a collective group like organized labor is bringing these issues across, for which reason the president can be able to engage. So let's not go into the issues of the GJA raising it.
But Doc, you know that if people are taking the president on, it is also because he was the one who put his presidency on the line. Nobody asked him to. And yet, almost 8 years down the line, what people see is more destruction of our water bodies and our environment. So people think at this stage that the president has failed.
Clearly unfair. That would be injustice and clearly unfair on anyone who says that the president has failed. And I don't think that President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has failed in the entire scheme of the mining sector. I would disagree with anybody who says that the President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has failed. He's not failed. He's succeeding. And clearly it's a collective fight that all of us must be able to fight to arrive at that. There's not been any president in this fourth republic, name one, who has ever told any Ghanaian that he's putting his presidency on the line. Not one. Just President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, because he saw the threat of that.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Dr. Paul Grove Wachidankwa. He's the government spokesperson on governance and security.
Still on this, you're still live here on Hot Edition now. The president of Imani Africa, Franklin Kujo, has also been talking about this particular stance taken by organized labor, indicating that they should not listen to the president with this appeal that he's making to them.
Hasn't the president demonstrated good faith by engaging labor on the matter and asking for more time?
Well, as I said, it will be extremely unwise on the part of organized labor to pull back at this stage. I mean, pull back for how many days for the president to do what? Now, this is a president who started off boasting that he would deal with this matter. He wasted our money. We gave him they used $3 million to buy some drones. We don't know where those drones flew to. As we speak, this is a state-sponsored illegal mining. Let's not joke. Let's not prepare it. Let's not make it sound as though it's something light we are dealing with. State-sponsored. Didn't his own Minister for Environment, Dr. Frimpong, go ahead to investigate the entire matter? And he sat on the report until it was leaked to everybody else, and we found out that the state that was really behind a lot of the illegal mining. So what would a few days really change? Not too long ago, the president heralded the program at the GJA, right? Even when it was clear, the GJA president and everybody else was telling him that, look, Galamsey is something you should deal with. He just read his speech and left. He didn't say a word about Galamsey, not even in the entire speech. And you think this person will do anything by telling organized labor to hold back? Well, I've said it will be extremely unwise on the part of organized labor to pull back at this stage. Because I don't think the president cares. He stopped caring long ago.
So my understanding is that you feel the president probably might have slept on this and it is not the time for him to be asking for time.
Isn't it obvious that he slept on the job for the past 8 years and done nothing about it? What is even annoying, irritating, is that here are signs of the government make speeches saying that it is other opposition people who are basically blackmailing them to deal with Galamsey, and they will not deal with it. Another sign of the government told me this morning that, well, they will not buy into the black, they will deal with the mess only after December 7th. I think they even win the December 7th election. You know, it's so annoying to hear people you thought were sensible, to be making stupid comments on air, claiming that people are blackmailing them to deal with Galamsey, when it's killing their own fathers, mothers, and children. This is irritating, to say the least. And I think, look, part of me believes really that, well, demonstrations may not cure it right now, but that's what you do with a headstrong president. I mean, I think I can't even recognize my own friend, the president, any longer.
Well, that's Franklin Kujo, is executive director of the Imani Africa. It's a policy think tank. Let's say a bit further on this matter. Seth Wolashime is a mining consultant. He's been following this matter quite closely. Mr. Wolashime, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Yeah, good evening, Alfred. Good evening to Paris listeners.
Now we're learning that the president is pleading with organized labor to not go on the strike beginning on the 10th of October. If you had the ears of organized labor, what would you tell them?
Well, I think that the matter that we are dealing with is quite serious. It's a very serious matter. And we should be looking for solutions that will be sustainable. Well, going on demonstration, like I said, like Franklin Kudo just said, will not cure the whole issue, but I think it will bring the awareness and it will let people, at least know that we are in a very dire situation. So for me, I think that they should allow anybody who wants to demonstrate peacefully, and the key word there is peacefully, to be able to express their disgust about what is happening.
I see. Now, there's that call that organized labor should not heed to that plea for them to not go on strike, because continuously this matter of illegal mining has been an existential threat over the period. A lot of lip service has been paid to it, not much commitment to the fight against illegal mining. So there has to be a clear message, and a strong one at that, sent, and organized labor is better placed to do that. Would you share in that view?
No, but a strike has implications of productivity and the rest. So I don't think that is the way to go. If that is what they mean by going to strike, they should know that, the productivity will suffer. The economy is already reeling, and we don't need that at this time. But you see, to demonstrate, yes, it's fine. But to go on strike for what? You are rather, jeopardizing a lot of other things. I have said that this issue of Galamsey and the destruction of water bodies and things can be tackled if we are really serious. In this day and age of technology, drones can be flown along these river bodies on a constant basis. In this peacetime, what is the work of the Navy? The Navy can be deployed onto these rivers with the right equipment and logistics, and they can patrol these places and make sure that they bring some sanity. So, you see, I don't get, the direction we're going in. And I've also said that Minerals Commission is not well resourced. They don't have offices in all the districts in this country. There are only 4 offices. They have zoned this country into 4, and they have offices in those zones, plus the one in Accra, which is the head office. The way mining is going on, practically in over hundreds of districts, they need to have offices operating in all these districts so that they can be able to police the activities of mining in this area, because they have the mandate under our laws.
So you make a point that if we were serious, so clearly you admit that we are not, or government is not showing a sense of seriousness in the fight against illegal mining, correct?
Absolutely, because how many times have we discussed this matter?
Good. So if that's the case, according to Labour.
Let me finish, Alfred. And also, the media, the way the media is covering this problem is also another issue we should talk about.
What has the media done?
It looks like you just, touch and go. There are no follow-ups. You need to have some kind of programs dedicated to possibly mining and this Galamsey thing. There should be programs that will get people who have the insight and the experience to be discussing this matter on regular basis. It looks as if, when the problem comes, we talk about it a little, then we go off, and then something serious happens, and then we pick it up again. It has always been the case.
Well, you have your opinion on that. We not necessarily agree with you wholly on this position that you've taken, because continuously the media will be reporting. The media does not have the prosecutory rights or the powers to take action. So if we continue to report it and the government that has to take action does not do so, you sitting there, obviously, and all watching, would not see some maximum result and impact. So, that's the point of departure. But the point I was trying to make earlier is that to the extent that you agree that there is no sign of seriousness, if a message has to be sent, would you say that it has to be done the same way as discussions and conversations? And that's the position of Labour, that we cannot continue to do the same things and expect different results. So they would have to go outside of the box and send a clear, strong message with a strike. And you do not agree with that?
I don't agree with that, because that one, like I said, has productivity implications and others. So what I'm saying is that these, I know for sure that the people who are in government listen to some of these programs, and some of these suggestions that we bring out, they go, because I know the Interministerial Committee started using drones from an interview I had with TV3, where I suggested that they could use the technology. So that is what I'm talking about. And also, you guys need to bring together experts from various sectors that can discuss this matter thoroughly and come up with possibly a proposal for the country to consider, for the government to consider. That is why I'm saying that the media is expected to do more.
We can only do so much. But Mr. Wolasme, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us here on Hot Edition. It's a mining consultant. But let's just say a bit further on this. One of the groups, that's the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, they've urged organized labor to rethink its planned nationwide strike scheduled for October 10. In fact, in their view, even though this position by labor is one that is meant to send a strong message, they're also looking at how this would impact on their businesses as a small-scale mining and a declaration of a state of emergency to combat illegal mining, commonly referred to as Galamsey. The association is calling on stakeholders to pursue alternative solutions to the Galamsey issue, emphasizing that strike actions could lead to significant economic consequences. Michael Pipra is president of the Small Scale Miners Association, joining us on the telephone. Mr. Pipra, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Good evening. Thanks for having me, Alfred.
First off, I can understand why you raise this concern, because a total ban on small-scale mining would impact on your work and your businesses negatively. But if you flip the coin around, do you also share the concern of the devastating impact that the illegal mining is having? And in fact, in some cases, small-scale miners with license also engage in illegality, all having on our environment and our water bodies?
As a matter of fact, the destruction of our various forest reserves and then the pollution of our water bodies is a concern to us as small-scale miners. We are all Ghanaians, and we cannot destroy this country in a quest in search for gold for some of our members or some of our personal needs. As a matter of fact, if things are done right and the gold is being mined, that is where the country will stand to benefit. So we stand in hand with organized labor. But when you were speaking, you categorically said illegal mining. Anything that is illegal, the law frowns on it. So we are in support in the enforcement of the law to curb this menace that we've been faced on. And also the mining in the various forest reserves. As a matter of fact, we cannot sit in this country and let a few people, especially politicians, put the laws in.
Hello?
To mine with impunity. So, as a matter of fact, the destruction of our various forest cover and the pollution of our water bodies is a really concern to us, and at least we stand hand in hand with organized labor. The only problem we have is when they box us together with illegal miners, in a sense that we have gone through the necessary procedure to acquire a license to mine. So if one way or the other, there is a leadership problem. That is the enforcement problem. And people are doing things on their own. And at the end of the day, the organized labor box, the small-scale miners and the illegal miners together. That is where we have an issue. We are against the destruction of our various water bodies and our various forests. So there's a worry to us. And as a matter of fact, this is a leadership problem. So if we have any anger, it is government we need to speak to so that the enforcement can be done. But we are against the total blanket ban on all forms of small-scale mining.
And it's on record as well that some licensed small-scale miners are engaged in illegality, is it not?
That is a lie. We need to speak to a fact in a sense that the people you are calling small-scale miners who are engaging in illegality are rather politicians. When you go to the various forests covers in this country, you would understand what I am saying. Because when you go to Afan, Kregwa, Inche, and other places, the people who are in the forest reserve mining, they are not small-scale miners, they are illegal miners, in a sense that there is no law that permits anyone to mine in the forest reserve without a ratified license from Parliament. And as we speak now, Parliament has not come out with any ratified license in our various forest covers. So the people you are talking about, they are politicians. Recently, it took 2 media men to go into the forest reserve to arrest 3 Chinese.
Okay.
And let's understand that there are people who have power, and these are the people who are engaging in this galamsey activity. Anybody who does illegal mining is a galamsey. So what is wrong is wrong. So I don't really understand why you say we have small-scale miners who are engaging.
But the fact that you say that the people in these forest reserves and areas are politicians, it doesn't mean that the companies they own engage in the illegality are not licensed. That's the point I'm trying to make. So if you say that it's an emphatic lie to the fact that small-scale miners, some licensed small-scale miners are engaged in illegality, I disagree with you, because we have records to the effect that there are licensed small-scale miners who have been reported to be engaged in illegal mining, whether owned by politicians or not.
As you said, we have people who are small-scale. They're small-scale. You can only be a small-scale miner when you have a license to mine and you follow the due procedure in mining. So let's say if somebody claims he's a small-scale miner and is mining in a forest reserve, that is legal, that is illegal mining. If somebody claims to be a small-scale miner and the person is on the water bodies, destroying our various water bodies, there is no law in this country that permits one to mine in our various water bodies. So that is illegal mining, and that is galamsey. But we have people who have their license and they are mining in conformity of the law. They have not gone past their demarcated license area. So whoever engages in illegality is a galamsey. And those people are the people we are talking about. The law enforcement is the problem. The reason why the law enforcement is not working is because a lot of people are in politics and they are the ones doing that illegal mining.
I see. So the Akonta mining owned by Ashanti Regional Chair of the MPP, Bernard Entry Boysiakon, who clearly, according to the Lands Minister himself, was engaged in mining in the tunnel in the Murray Forest Reserve, is engaged in Galamsey?
Yes, because as a matter of fact, Akunta Mining has not come out with any license or a mining lease from the minister. And as a matter of fact, what the law says is every license that or every mining lease that will be signed by the minister should go through Parliament for ratification. So it's better you ask our parliamentarians if Akunta Mining has brought any mining lease to be ratified. Per the information we have, it does not have any mining lease that is being ratified by Parliament. So whatever goes in that forest reserve is Galamsey. And these are the facts we need to speak on. The reason why government is holding back in trying to enforce the law is the people who are in government are the same people engaging in Galamsey. So the power that they hold in a quest to protect our various forest reserves and our water bodies, that is the same power they are using in engaging in this illegal mining menace. And as a matter of fact, they are even using Chinese to mine with impunity. So we need to speak the facts as it is. Well, and what we are saying is we are not against whatever organized labor is saying. We are in solidarity with them. But our problem is they shouldn't box legal licensed small-scale miners with this Galamsey issue.
Zebra, thank you very much for your time. And this information you're just giving to us is interesting, and another layer to this Akunta Mining matter. We'll ask members of Parliament what you have just put out as well. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Michael Kojo-Pepra is president of the Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana. There.
Let's say a bit longer on this illegal mining problem, and the Ghana Water Company says that its supply of water in the central region has improved through the efforts of the Central Regional Security Council in dealing with illegal mining. The company last month expressed concerns about the impact of pollution which was affecting its work. Now, according to the Ghana Water Company Limited, the Setrahiman water treatment is currently recording an average turbidity of 9,000 NTU as compared to the previous average turbidity of 14,000 NTU. As a result of this event, production at the plant has now increased from over 1 million gallons of water per day to over 2 million gallons per day. Now, the World Health Organization recommends that water turbidity level should be below 5 NTU. For safe drinking water. Now, high turbidity can indicate the presence of pathogens or contaminants, making the water unsafe for consumption. Per the WHO, for optimal water quality, levels below 1 NTU are ideal. The Ghana Standards Authority specifies that drinking water should have turbidity levels below 5 NTU. And we do have on the line with that Seth Eric Atiapa. He's Chief Manager, Central Region, Ghana Water Company Limited. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, madam. Thank you for having me on your show.
Why did you find it necessary to issue a statement about the current water turbidity level?
Please come again.
Why did you find it necessary to tell us that the water turbidity has moved from 14,000 to now 9,000? Why do you find it necessary to tell us that now?
Okay, about a month ago, I realized that I was having difficulties in meeting the demands of my customers. And per established protocols with the PRC, when you have such troubles, you have to inform your customers so that they can store water. And of course, you also have to tell them why you have this situation. So I came out to inform them. After that, I have to put in interventions and strategies to see how I can manage the situation. I give myself a month, and exactly a month now, I have to share the results with PRC and my customers again. So this is just updating them on what we are doing and where we are.
This is not the first time the Ghana Water Company Limited has had issues, sometimes not even with turbidity tracing to the illegal mining issue. So why did you find it necessary to tell us that the Central Regional Security Council has helped you and therefore the situation has improved? So Ghanaians, we want to let you know.
Whenever we have issues, power outages, etc., when we come back, we come out to tell them. And of course, this one, we didn't do it alone. We have to get assistance from external partners. And when you mention their names, you really need to acknowledge what they have done. In fact, we work together as RegSec to achieve this. So this is not something that I can say I did it alone, so I will not mention their name.
People think you're being sycophants, especially when even the turbidity levels you're talking about are not acceptable locally and internationally. The WHO asked for less than, is it 5? Ghana Standards Authority, the same thing. So why is it so much of a ground news when it is from 14,000 to 9,000?
So I have been saying that I came out on my own to tell my customers of the struggles I'm going through. And as a team, my management, we know that when things get better, in fact, we do that. We do that on various platforms. And this time, because it took a national turn, we wanted to use the same means to inform customers to allay their fears that we are working on it. Nobody should panic. We are working on it. We have what it takes, and then we will improve. And when you say that stability levels are not that good, we are talking of stability levels in final water. We are talking of stability levels in the raw water. And most of the time, when my water comes out, I have stability levels less than 1. So what we are comparing is final drinking water, and I'm talking of raw water. So we can say that our stability levels also is around 1, sometimes less than 1, when we push our water out. I'm not saying that it is time to celebrate, but I'm also saying that it is time to update my customers and let them be aware of what we are doing. I believe in doing so, they will understand and have a buy-in for me. We have achieved this, I can say, also because of the assistance from the citizens themselves, because we ask them to ward away anybody who is doing galamsey on the river body or along the coast. So they must know what we are doing and how far we have come.
And indeed, you attributed your success to the Central Regional Security Council. What more is the council doing to ensure that this situation improves in that part of the country?
Okay, so in this multi-sector approach to managing this, the RegSec assisted with police visibility and patrolling, and this we are continuing, and we are hoping that when we are able to sustain this, we should have better results.
Thank you very much. We'll have to end it here. Seth Eric Atiapa is the Chief Manager, Central Regional Branch of the Ghana Water Company Limited. Well, Mines and Energy Analyst Kwame Jantua thinks that the water company is only seeking to please the government. Listen.
They should stop the sycophancy. They should stop the sycophancy. Because it's hitting hard, they want to protect the president. The president should act. That's what we're asking for. They're not asking for anything else. Act. Water is life. Act. So let's see whether the central region is going to get water within a certain duration of time. What did the Minister of Mines and Natural Resources tell us? He said the fights are going to who? The regional ministers. So it's the regional minister who is now in control. And they are controlling the water company to say things that would favor them. But you see, the irony is that if the president starts acting now, it can save him with the election, can't it? Ghanaians will say, woye bibi. But if you say you're calling for more time, what more time do you need? That is what I don't understand, President Akufo-Addo. What more time do you require? What does it take to start putting things in place? What does it take? The demands of labor, are they demands that cannot be achieved? Is that what we're saying? Nobody has said ban small-scale mining for a duration of time. We said ban it so that we can now start putting things in place. Don't you think when this particular issue of alluvial gold being mined on our water body, when it started, and it started more in President Akufo-Addo's term, when it started, if he then came and said, this thing is going to be a challenge for us. Let's see how we put it in place. Gold mining is a lot of money. It creates a lot of jobs. The people won't stop it. But let's put it in the right frame of mind. So let's ban. When he banned it for a few months, what did we see? Did we not see the stupidity of the water change? Did we not see it? And why did he then decide to lift the ban? Because they lost 10 constituencies in the election. So he's bringing party before country. How is that possible? These are some of the things I do not understand.
So what do you say Labour should do? Should Labour wait until President comes back to them, or they should just act?
If by the 10th of October, the president hasn't acted, we go on the streets. We shut this country down. This, Galamsey, is what? What is it doing? It is a threat to us. It is self-imposed genocide with all the kinds of minerals.
And you had Kwame Jantua, his mines and energy analyst, as well as a lawyer.
It's live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W93.5 in Y and beyond. A bit further on the issues of illegal mining. This is an existential threat we're faced with. Atahin is a consultant for WASH, the WASH program, that's Water and Sanitation Hygiene program. He's joining us on the telephone. Ms. Ahin, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Yes, good evening, Alfred.
Great. Now, Ghana Water is talking about the turbidity levels in the that's a central region increasing, at least based on their own analysis. There's been an improvement essentially from about 14,000 turbidity levels to about 9,000 turbidity levels as we speak. Any reason to as it were on their part to be rejoicing now?
Thank you very much, and let me say good evening to our listeners. I am WASH technical specialist with World Vision Ghana. So you know that our water resources are a source of survival and livelihoods, from drinking to other domestic uses, to agri to fishing. Water bodies sustain our lives. And so for me, when I heard it, well, it was good news. That is what every Ghanaian, every well-meaning Ghanaian, is looking for. And so if there are specific actions resulting in this modest improvement, then we need to sustain these actions. But of course, turbidity levels of 9,000, you know that is still very, very high. And so we need to work with all stakeholders to ensure further improvements to levels that are, for me, satisfactory, including declaring our water bodies and the areas within which the water bodies are found, national security installations or zones, making it illegal or virtually impossible for any mining or other activities to take place, not only in or around, not only in but also around. But we also need to strengthen the institutions mandated to protect these water bodies and these water resources. But Alfred, going forward, I think that government should stamp its authority and have the will to ensure that the country's laws are strictly enforced to protect and preserve our water bodies, which gives us life and survival and livelihoods. But people who fall foul of the law in respect of water bodies, should be dealt with in accordance with due process. Nobody should be spared. It doesn't matter who is involved. I think that if we are able to do that and we form partnerships with government, traditional rulers, CSOs, citizens, and all relevant stakeholders, we should be able to ensure that we don't get back to where we are now. Because I think we are capable of protecting and preserving our water bodies much better than we have done in the past.
Rightly so. In fact, if you look at the ideal turbidity level, according to the Ghana Water, it's supposed to be 2,000, and now 9,000. That's about 7,000.
And in fact, Alfred, even 2,000 is high per the standards elsewhere. Even 2,000 is high. Elsewhere, you are talking in the hundreds, and so 2,000 is even high. So to talk of 14,000 plus, was quite unacceptable, and I think we are capable of doing something about it.
And I thank you so much for joining us, Atahin. Appreciate your time. He is a wash technical specialist with World Vision Ghana, joining us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're live on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, also on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Hundreds of protesters taking part in the Free the Citizens demonstration are expected to present a petition to the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources over the legal mining menace we've been talking about over a period now. 3FM is learning that day 2 of the protest saw heavy traffic at some intersections here in Accra, leading to clashes between the police and the demonstrators. The demonstrators are also demanding the release of Democracy Hub protesters who were arrested and remanded into police custody about a week ago. Now, this protest is being held under the banner Free the Citizens and Say No to Galamsey. My colleague Joseph Armstrong Alogbe is covering the protest for us. He's joining us live on the line now. Joe, what's the latest?
Alfred, the latest is that the second day of the protest has just ended, with the protesters successfully presenting their petition to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. The minister himself could not show up, as we are told, he's out of the country, but some reps from the ministry came forward to receive a petition from the protesters, which in it, the protesters are demanding that the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources stop issuing new licenses to miners and ensure that all mining activities within forest reserves and closed water bodies are abrogated with immediate effect. They also demand that the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources ensure that the 54 protesters that were picked up earlier and are currently serving a remand are released with immediate effect. This and other demands they made, and the representatives from the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources received it and said they will get to the minister and they will get back to them at the appropriate time. But today, the protest was a little bit slow, and it was somehow hectic for even the police personnel that were guiding the protesters. As every intersection the protesters get to, they make a stop, sit and communicate among themselves, try to engage drivers that are driving, creating heavy traffic. But interestingly, the drivers that we thought were going to get upset and angry at the protesters, rather, were seen cheering at the protesters, as many of them I spoke to said to me that, look, if not for work, if not for time, we would have parked our car and also joined you in this protest. So you have our full support, and that is something that happened today that many say is quite unusual, where you see commuters and drivers cheering at protesters who have decided to sit at the intersection of roads with no cars moving in and coming out. Alfred.
I see, and just a quick recall of that incident that happened at the Kaukudi Junction between the police and some persons, a group of persons who were later identified as being affiliated to the Chief Imam's office?
Okay, so these are our fellow brothers from they've just closed from prayers, and they were supposed to have crossed over to the other side of the road, but the police have lined up on the road where they ensure that the protesters do not veer off their road to other places. And in this case, the Muslim brothers have also closed from their prayers, and they were also demanding that the police give them access to cross over. But the police insisted that no, until the protesters cross over, there's no way we will allow you to cross or mix with them. Also to ensure that nobody mixes with the protesters to foment problems or cause any problems. Hence, the police stopped them from passing. Later, the protesters managed to move ahead of the Muslim brothers who have just finished praying from the national mosques around the Kaukudi area. But the police still insisted they have to wait for a while until the entire team moved before they can pass. And that is where our fellow brothers could not exercise patience and try to force their way through, leading to a little bit of confrontation between them and the police. Not anything so serious, but, and it has something also to do with the protesters. The protesters were very focused, hence to be picked by the police officers. Alfred.
Armstrong, appreciate your time on this. Thank you so much. Joseph Gold Alogbe Armstrong there, giving us details of the demonstration, day 2 of the Stop Galamsey demonstration, Free the Citizens demonstration as well, ongoing here in Accra. So live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. We're back shortly with the business news. Juliana Menuafo is standing by. Stay with us. The most comprehensive election coverage.
Top-notch presenters and well-versed analysts.
Dedicated reporters and correspondents in every nook and cranny across the country.
All the action, every incident reported. All the big stories covered.
All facts cross-checked. Every figure verified.
Every vote monitored and accounted for.
The numbers tallied, analyzed, and interpreted.
We have invested time and energy in order to bring you a comprehensive elections coverage.
The whole world will be watching us on TV, online, and radio.
Election Command Center. Facts, analysis, results.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM. Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
Hello, good evening. It's now time for business segment on Hot Edition. Coming up tonight, positive economic developments prompt the IMF to again revise Ghana's growth targets upwards following a successful third review and staff level agreement. My name is Menu Afo. Stay with us for details. Thank you so much for your time. So for the second time this year, Ghana's growth target is up for revision. The IMF says it will review Ghana's growth target upwards to reflect positive developments in the Ghanaian economy. This follows a successful staff-level agreement reached between government and the IMF on the third review of Ghana's extended credit facility. The following report has details. Ghana's growth target, which was revised upwards to 3.1% during the mid-year budget review, is up for another upward revision. According to IMF Mission Chief Stefan Rode, this development stems from the significant growth of the economy.
Economic growth in the first half of 2024 has been much higher than anticipated. And indeed, we will revise our growth projections for this year, once again, I should say. Inflation has continued to decline. Fiscal adjustment is on track to meet the end-year fiscal targets. The external position has continued to improve, with rapid accumulation of international reserves by the Bank of Ghana. And indeed, the Bank of Ghana has been outperforming the program objectives on that front.
Ghana is poised to receive another tranche of $360 million from the IMF upon completion of the Executive Board review, as a staff-level agreement has been reached. For his part, Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam assured government's commitment to avoid fiscal slippages even as elections approach.
Let me assure you that the government is fully committed to fiscal discipline, ensuring that our policies remain focused on sustainability and economic stability, regardless of the electoral cycle.
Meanwhile, Bank of Ghana has revealed that inflation is likely to end 2024 at around 18%. Above the target of 15%, plus or minus 2.
The MPCs or the Bank of Ghana is now saying that we are not likely to hit the 17, but may go up a little bit because of the uptick we saw in September.
Well, that was a three business report on Ghana's development so far with the IMF this year. Moving on, the Ghana Manganese Company is set to begin construction of $450 million manganese refinery later this month, aimed at upgrading the current low-grade carbonate manganese into a higher value product with enhanced market potential. The refinery is expected to create over 1,000 jobs and significantly boost Ghana's foreign earnings from the mineral. Speaking during a media tour organized by the Ghana Chamber of Mines, GMC's General Manager Joseph Ampong said the facility will process up to 5 million tons of manganese annually once fully operational.
In first phase, we're going to put in over 250 million, 40 million for the first phase. And this is going to create over 1,000 jobs for various sessions, all angles. So it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a very big refinery. We're going to do about 5 million. We do 5 million tons per year over there. We'll do about 5 million. Like I said, if we produce 8 million, we keep up the 3 million direct. But the 5 million will go into the refinery, to the plant. Once we put it there, we add value. So if we put in 26.5%, now we get getting out about 50%, and then that one is reachable one that we can get more money for it. We've started the work on it already. Now we've sent our feasibility studies to the government. Once everything is approved, as mentioned over this month, getting to the early next month, the government is coming here to cut the sod, and then we'll start the processes.
That was General Manager for the Ghana Manganese Company, Joseph Ampong there. Away from that, a senior lecturer at the University of Professional Studies, Accra, Dr. Eric Boachi-Yadom, is urging caution against government rushing into more international borrowing. With the projected debt to GDP ratio expected to drop to 55% due to the successful debt restructuring and fiscal adjustments, he believes there's ample room for additional borrowing. The Minister of Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, recently announced that the government's estimated 109% debt to GDP level by 2028 will reduce to 55% as a result of successful debt restructuring and government's fiscal adjustments.
It also shows that Ghana is heading towards debt sustainability. The IMF Fiscal Monitor predicted that by the close of this year, Ghana debt to GDP will be around the region of 80% and probably slow down to about 69.7% by 2029, which is about, let's say, yes, about 70%. But per this new development, we are expecting that the debt to GDP ratio will slow down to about 55%, by 2029, which means something good is happening, and government will the Ghanaian economy will gradually be entering into a debt sustainability zone. And it is also will improve Ghana's credit rating by the International Rating Agency. It is not to say that government should quickly go back to the capital market. But it sends a certain signal to investors.
A senior lecturer at the University of Professional Studies, Accra, Dr. Eric Boachi-Yadom there. That's it for Business News on Hot Edition. For more business stories, please check out our website. It's www.3news.com. My name is Menu. Stay tuned. We have more stories for you shortly.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. With me, Oreku Ampofo. We do have a lot to unpack for you as we talk about the Black Stars ahead of their game against Sudan, which is in just about a week's time. The date for the matches has been changed. It was initially scheduled for next week, Friday, but is now on Thursday. And so the match between Ghana and then Sudan, which will be taking place in Accra, would be taking place on Thursday. And we'll be bringing you details of that as Ghana prepares for that crucial game between themselves and then Sudan in the first fixture that's here in Ghana before they go away. That's the following Tuesday on Tuesday, that would be for about 4 days later with regards to the Black Stars and then the Sudan match. But before the match, we would have to do some pre-game stuff. And Otoado, who's the head coach of the Black Stars, did name his 25-man squad ahead of the double-header between Ghana and Sudan. And after naming the squad, he spoke about Kwesi Appiah, who he knows very well, given that the pair worked together during the 2014 World Cup.
Yeah, big respect for Kwesi Appiah for what he has achieved as a player, but also as a coach for Ghana. I'm looking forward to this game, but to be honest, for me, it doesn't matter who's on the other side. We're looking at our team. We're trying to prepare ourselves best as possible, and that's the most important thing for us. And I think in this game, very much, it's mostly about us, our attitude towards the game, and this is what we're looking at.
Well, still ahead of the game, one key area of concern for the Black Stars has been goal scoring from their strikers. However, the strikers in the national team setup have mostly been deployed as wingers when it comes to their club side. That is Jordan Ayew, Leicester City or Crystal Palace, Antoine Semenyo for Bournemouth, and then Iñaki Williams for Athletic Club. Otoado says that when it comes to national team football, it's more about the collective than the individual.
It's always a challenge with how and what position players play at the club level, and then also in an international level with the national team. It's always a challenge. As you just said it, if you just, let's say, mention those two players, maybe we take Jordan also in addition. It's not about the player, it's about the team. And we have to see what is best for the team. And if, let's say, both or all of them are playing as wingers, we still need maybe somebody who plays the number 9 position. So whatever I do, I'll do something maybe that is not equivalent to the position in the team. But for me, I think the most important is the team, most important thing. And I have to, and we as a staff, as a coaching staff, have to think about the best possible solution where we can think each of our players can harm our opponent as much as possible. And this is what we're looking for.
Well, still ahead of the double-header, Otoado is challenging his players to be motivated and go for it as they search their first win in the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers after losing to Angola and then drawing against Niger.
I want to see the hunger on the pitch. And for me, I had a lot of talks, to be honest. I went also around to visit some players to talk to them directly because I was very, very unhappy about a lot of players, the way they performed. So we had very, very good talks, but now it's time for action. Everybody can talk, we can talk good, and everybody can say, hey, I want to give 100%, but for me, talk is very, very cheap. It's easy to talk, but we have to see it on the pitch.
Well, that's Otoado, and one player who is still missing from the squad is Andre Ayew, who is still the captain of the Black Stars. Now, news just coming in is that he has rejoined French side Le Havre as a free agent for the remainder of the 2024-2025 season. He makes a return to the French Ligue 1 after he spent 6 months at the same club last season, where he got 5 goals in 19 appearances and helped them to escape relegation. Let's do some more stories, and this time head to England because Erik ten Hag looks as if his job is still on the line after a 3-3 draw against Porto on Thursday. Now, co-owner of the Red Devils, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, says that the future of under-pressure manager Ten Hag is not his call. Now, he took control of the football operations at Old Trafford in February, and in July, the club triggered a 1-year extension in Ten Hag's contract. But following a difficult start to the campaign, Ratcliffe said that United hierarchy has to put in place and ensure that they take the measures to make the right decisions.
I don't want to answer that question. I like Eric. I think he's a very good coach. But at the end of the day, it's not my call. It's that management team that's running Manchester United that have to decide how we best run the team in many different respects. But that team that's running Manchester United has only been together since June, July. Yeah. They weren't there in January or February or March or April. They've only arrived. Omar, Dan Ashworth, they only arrived in July. Sure. They've only been there, you can count it in weeks almost. They're there a long time. So they need to take stock and make some sensible decisions. I mean, our objective is very clear. We want to take Manchester United back to where it should be. And it's not there yet, obviously. That's very clear. So there's work to be done.
Manchester United this weekend away to Villa Park as they face an informed Aston Villa. Ten Hag knowing very well that anything but victory could potentially put a dent in his career at Manchester United, as he's seemingly under a lot of pressure at Old Trafford. But before we go, let's hear it from Liverpool boss Arne Slot, who says that despite his team's good early form, which has seen them sit top of the Premier League table and also win their first 2 Champions League games, he believes that his players still need to be level-headed as there's a lot of the season left to be played.
Would be very weird if a player at Liverpool then is all of a sudden with his head in the clouds. Is that also something you say? Okay. So no, that's... but if we don't play well tomorrow, people will probably come up with that instead of saying that Palace did well or we maybe did other things wrong. But I don't see this, and that would definitely not be normal. For 2 reasons. These players are experienced enough to understand the league table after 6 games as well, and the schedule we had compared to some other teams. Second of all, Virgil, Ali, Trent, Robbo, they won the league here. Mo, they won the league here. They won the Champions League here. For them, it's a nice thing to be on top of the table, but I'm not expecting them to watch their mobile every second of the day, seeing them being top of the table.
That was Liverpool boss Arne Slot, and that's how we wrap up the sports segment here on Hertz Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Oreku Ampofo.
The most comprehensive election coverage.
Top-notch presenters and well-versed analysts.
Dedicated reporters and correspondents in every nook and cranny across the country.
All the action, every incident reported.
All the big stories covered.
All facts cross-checked. Every figure verified.
Every vote monitored and accounted for.
The numbers tallied, analyzed, and interpreted.
We have invested time and energy in order to bring you a comprehensive elections coverage.
The whole world will be watching us on TV, online, and radio.
Election Command Center. Facts, analysis, results.
Wake up early every weekday because of you to keep you on top of your game. Yeah!
You are at the center of our universe. That's why we make it a duty to serve you only the freshest, hottest news and entertainment. When you want it, where you want it.
Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Start your day well informed. Start with us on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Catch the all-new Sunrise Morning Show on 3FM 92.7 with me, Johnny Hughes, Helena Biambofo. Weekdays from 5:55 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on 3FM 92.7.
3FM, your urban lifestyle radio.
And you're still here on Hot Traditional 3FM 92.7. Thank you for staying. Thank you to Oreku for bringing us the latest in sports. And so here on Hot Tradition, most part of the Greater Tamale metropolis and the Sanerigu municipality have been flooded after close to 4 hours of a downpour. Most principal streets and inner city roads, including houses, have been taken over by the flood waters. Business activities in the metropolis have also been affected. Areas such as Sawaba, Gomani, Tishigo, among others, have been affected. Christopher Mwako is joining us live on the line now. Chris, what can you tell us?
Yes, so Beatrice, I must say that the downpour earlier today has really affected people and their businesses. As you rightly mentioned, most of the inner city roads, including houses belonging to residents, have been submerged in water earlier today following the downpour, and people are counting their losses as it stands now, even though the water levels have reduced drastically, but it has really affected people earlier today when the flooding incident happened.
Affected, can you paint a picture for us, aside from perhaps inconveniences with vehicular movement?
Yes, so because we know that this in Tamale, one major challenge has to do with the flooding because of the drainage system that is here. And so when it happens like that, people are unable to go to their farms, people are unable to go to their shops, people are unable to undertake business activities. And so the whole day, the Greater Tamale metropolis, which happens to be a busy town, has not seen the residents moving to and fro like that. If you go to the Sanerigu municipality, which is also in the Tamale enclave, it is worse there because areas like Kampikuku, Sanerigu Kuku, and other areas, people are unable to even come out of their homes.
Has NADMO come in yet?
Yes, so NADMO has begun to take records of the affected houses. As it stands now, as for farmlands, we don't know how many have been affected as it stands now, but with the homes, we know that we saw some NADMO officials earlier today, especially in the Sanerigu municipality, moving around to ensure that lives are safe.
Thank you very much. Christopher Mwako is our Northern Region correspondent. Thank you for bringing us that. Now, to mark this year's World Teachers' Day, NAT has criticized the government for showing marks of bad faith in not providing paying the 20% deprived area allowance for teachers since 2009. Now, the union says that the government must intervene to address the concerns of teachers on promotions and upgrade, or risk more agitations in the coming days. October 5 every year has been set aside globally to recognize the role of teachers. The theme for this year, World Teachers' Day, has been valuing teachers' voices towards a new social contract for education. General Secretary of NAT, Thomas Musatanko, spoke to our Labour correspondent, Daniel Opoku.
Let government take opportunity and settle everything that must be settled. Government should not wait until the teachers begin to agitate again. No, let us avoid it. Let us avoid agitations. Let us avoid it. Okay, don't wait until teachers begin to agitate before you come responding. It's when you do that, it is like you always want to provoke teachers to react before you come back and come and tell them, oh, come and let. No. Let us avoid it. Teachers have demonstrated. They have brought all their concerns. I want to believe that today is World Teachers' Day. Government should make definite pronouncements on the concerns of teachers. That is all. And then we are all good to go.
My final question to you. Are there areas on, do you still have legacy debt and also capitation grants, all those issues?
Oh, as for the capitation grant, it's in arrears. Capitation grant is postpaid and not prepaid. Postpaid simply means that I think it's in arrears for about 2 years or so. It is capitation grant is always in arrears. And so what it means is that the head teachers will have to go and look for money to run the school, then government will come and pay. That is what it is. And so when you go to a school, if the head teacher doesn't have money, it means that the school will be running, and that is how basic education in Ghana is suffering. Basic education in Ghana is what? Is suffering big time because of lack of funding for basic education. And for that matter, we have recommended Pre-Tertiary Education Funding Act. There should be Pre-Tertiary Education Funding Act. We need to agree on how we want to fund basic education in Ghana, because currently what is happening to basic schools is nothing to write home about. And if care is not taken, look, you can check the pass rate and the level of, the level of literacy and numeracy competencies. You can check them. It's nothing to write home about. All because the investment that must go in, the investment is not going. Okay, the investment is not going, and it is not in the best interest of anybody. And look.
And you heard that General Secretary of NAT, Thomas Musa Tanko, speaking exclusively to Labour Affairs correspondent Daniel Opoku. And this is So Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Welcome to Campaign Trail. And on Campaign Trail tonight, we start from the camp of the NPP, and the vice presidential candidate for the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, has expressed shock at the flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama, for seeking prayers from religious leaders he accused recently as hypocrites because they prayed for the running mate of the New Patriotic Party. Speaking during a debate of chiefs, religious leaders and party supporters at Afrancho in the Afija Kwabre, south of the Ashanti region, Dr. Opoku Prempeh said that the National Democratic Congress has consistently shown a lack of respect for traditional leaders, which should concern all Ghanaians.
Ocansey, Nelu, no, the one. Obia the new family, Obia Ombu, Obia on the set of the Yobi Papa, and that's Obia the Dapa Baby Bruno, Roba the day. As a penny will fear, and the people sell by one.
And you heard the running mates to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Pempeh, criticizing the former president for disrespecting religious leaders and yet bowing down before them just weeks after to receive their prayers. Well, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Pempeh goes about that. The flag bearer of the NDC is also cautioning electorate in the Northeast region and the country as a whole to be wary of the last-minute road contract the government is awarding to what he says to purposely deceive them into voting for the MPP. He spoke during a campaign tour in the Northeast region.
And then always, when elections are coming, then they pretend as if they're going to come and continue it. Right now, I hear there's a contractor who has been giving the contract to start the road. And that is because we're going to vote. It's the same thing they did when I was MP. In my whole constituency, Bole Bamboy, only Bole had light. And so we're trying to electrify the rest of the communities when I left office. And so in 2004, when we were going to vote, they brought electricity poles and came and put them in all the communities. As soon as I won the election again, they came and carried the poles away.
And you had the flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama. And that's it for Campaign Trail on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. And that's it for Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice. I did this with Alfred Ocansey. Thank you so much for joining us today and this week. Join us again next week. Log on to shrenews.com for more news. Have a good evening and do enjoy the rest of our programs.